Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. And now let's turn to our top story, which remains Iran. There has been unrest there, and although now there seems to be a suggestion that the situation has sort of tempered down, but Donald Trump saying at least the planned executions are not taking place. The Iranians have said nobody is going to be executed among the anti-government protesters, although there was anticipation that that might happen. We do not know what is the exact ground situation, as the internet shutdown is now over a week long in that nation in West Asia, or the Middle East as the Americans call it. And to talk about the situation there, since India has said that it's ready to take people out, facilitate their coming out of Iran if they wish to do so, we're joined by Amit Lagun, former senior diplomat. Good evening to you, Ambassador Lagun. You've had India's envoy responsibilities in the region, I believe in Yemen as well. What do you make of the current situation in Iran? It is a bit of a grey area right now, because on the one hand you have India saying that it's now making preparations to get people of Indian origin or Indians out, a lot of students there as well. And at the same time you have the US air base in Qatar, where the security alert has been lowered.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is quite fragile there. We don't have real news because of the internet shutdown by the government. But on the ground situation, the people, there is a huge resentment. The economic is one very big factor, because in the last 2 weeks or so, the Iranian rial against the US dollar has weakened considerably, means it has lost value. And in fact, some of the exchange houses were showing zero value. It is not that currency has become zero, but it's that the calculations for putting those zeros, what will be the value, has gone awry. So the purchasing power has declined, because Yemnis are paid in rial. They import a lot of goods, and especially the subsidies, etc., which were given by the government, and even the fuel subsidies, which Iran is a major producer of oil, though it has declined over the years because of sanctions, etc. The fuel subsidies also have been gradually removed, and it is hurting the people very badly. And then, unfortunately, also there has been water issue in Tehran. In the last since starting in December, the water sources have dried down due to various factors. And last year was pretty bad from the security and economic situation point of view for Tehran, because in June their confrontation with Israel destroyed a lot of infrastructure, and then there was this heavy bombing by US B-2B bomber over the nuclear site. Iran has to refurbish most of its missile, which was spent in towards firing towards Israel and exporting to other countries.
Right.
So it is quite in a precarious situation. And incidentally, another country which is facing turmoil, Venezuela, they both were quite big allies. So situation is dire, even if by chance the regime under Ayatollah Khamenei survives. How long it will be able to go on under these circumstances will be a very big question mark going forward.
Yes, the US has announced fresh sanctions against Iranian officials now. But why do you think Donald Trump has dialed down his talk of suggesting that a military intervention could be made? The ostensible reason, of course, is that Iran is no longer saying that it will execute those who've been caught in anti-government protests. But do you think there are other reasons that are being considered as well?
Well, they may be doing a wait and watch situation. US has big allies in the Gulf, which are just across. You mentions about Qatar, where Americans have a big base. UAE is a American ally. Saudi Arabia is there. We are all sitting opposite the Persian Gulf. So the allies also must be feeling the heat of what is going on in the country, because whatever happens in Iran will have a repercussions on the entire region. And we must not forget that 47 years ago, after Ayatollah Khomeini had led the Iranian revolution and taken power, the country was plunged into this long Iran-Iraq war, which didn't result in any victory. But it had ramifications there, which led to ultimately Saddam Hussein demanding reparations, which led to Kuwait crisis. No, it had that cascading effect. And these are very oil-rich countries. They have geopolitical importance for the world, especially energy supply. So nobody would take a risk of plunging into the country and then going for uncertainty and having a cascading effect. So that could be the reason. But also the internal situation in Iran is now so implosive that maybe they have news key the regime may not last for a long time. And this situation has been deteriorating. We must also remember that in 2022, when that girl Amini, when she had died in a police custody for not wearing hijab in a proper way, it had led to again a very big violent protest. But that was only the trigger, showing the resentment which the population has. And it has only got worsened over the years, the war with Israel, and then the UN also not lifting the sanctions, permanent sanctions against Iran. So that in fact triggered the currency collapse, because Iran does not have otherwise big trade basket, and it's shut off from the world trade in a normal way. So it is quite a situation. People are just maybe rather than trying to be the cause, they want to play a safe. For example, again in the UN, their with the PR of Iran has started blaming Israel and US to be behind this crisis. So they don't want his statement to come to gain strength.
Mhm. But the regime clearly, through the years of sanctions and all, is considerably weakened, which is why it has had trouble, taking care of the economic woes of the people as well. But do you think that till now the regime is surviving mostly because it's the armed forces that still support it? Because as long as the armed forces keep supporting the regime, it will fight to live to fight another day.
Yeah, that's a big factor. We'll have to see, especially this in Iranian Revolutionary Guard (IRGC). How, because they are the elite force, so they what role they will play it will become a very crucial factor. And there were reports, to be confirmed, that some of the big guns of IRGC security forces have started little defecting. And also, we must know that the current supreme leader, Mr. Khamenei, who had succeeded Ayatollah Khomeini, is become quite advanced in age. He's fragile, and anyhow, his one hand is paralyzed due to an attack quite long time ago. So there was always there was a talk or a move to appoint his successor now. And a committee, I believe, has been formed to look into it. And one of the consideration is the son of Ayatollah Khomeini, who's there. So these uncertainties are there, and he has been in power for as a supreme leader for quite some time. And even if suppose he abdicates and makes a successor as a supreme leader, to for him to take reins at this moment, will be very, very challenging. And maybe some of the dissidents, seeing where the country is going, they might decide to switch sides. And already the former Shah's son, Reza Pahlavi, is waiting on the sideline, to put him back into the country. So these are a lot of uncertain times, and we'll see the armed IRGC and other security forces will play, in fact, the crucial role and will decide the fate of events in the coming days.
That is another reason that when you spoke of the descendant of the Shah of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, Donald Trump wasn't very, very keen that he's someone who could be backed, because it's unclear. And Donald Trump perhaps also is not making a military intervention, because even if he manages to, say, change, bring about regime change, what next is something that he doesn't really have an answer for right now.
Yes, that is what is a dangerous situation, because Iran is not unlike many other countries in the region which are going through a lot of turmoil. For example, Sudan, where this long ruler, General Bashir, when he was removed, and then this interim government was formed, and they did not last, and now the two forces of RSF and the Sudan army are now like fighting, like fight to the death, which the common people are suffering. So compared to Sudan, Iran is much more important, both from the resource point of view, geopolitically. So people would definitely not like that situation to happen. We must also know that the Reza Pahlavi's father, Shah, was one of the resentment was that he was an American stooge, who was ruling, and he was supporting American interest, oil interest, especially in the region, and he was very close to Israel. Israel, in fact, had the best relations in the region with Iran at that time. And so these very played a very big factors for Ayatollah Khomeini to muster support. So, though of course a generation has come up which have not seen the Shah's rule, but the opposition can, with the present regime, can bring this factor, which can again play a emotional chord with the Iranians. What we had got rid of earlier.
Right.
No, you are trying to build bring that
Okay.
same factor back. So naturally, they would like to wait and watch the situation. Yes.
Okay, so perhaps this situation will sustain for the time being. Meanwhile, as India has indicated, it has made preparations to facilitate the exit of the Indians who are there in Iran, those who want to move out. And there are reports that the first flights could be taking off from Tehran tomorrow itself. We'll keep an eye on that situation and perhaps talk about it further with you as well, Ambassador Lagun. Thank you so much for joining us for the time being.